Head coach Scott Robertson has heaped praise on young All Blacks Cortez Radama and Wallace Satiti for their impressive performances during Saturday's thrilling Bledisloe Cup clash. Radama, named player of the match, led from the front at halfback, while Satiti shined in the blindside flanker role for the second straight test. The pair were handed their first international starts in what turned out to be a nail-biting contest, with 68,000 fans at Sydney's Accor Stadium witnessing a remarkable 40-minute All Blacks masterclass. But after racing to a 21-0 lead within the first 15 minutes, the Wallabies mounted an incredible comeback, making it a 3-point game late in the match. If you are a fan of the All Blacks, write "Go All Blacks" in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Despite the pressure, the All Blacks held firm, with Radama delivering a standout performance, including a disallowed coast-to-coast try that would have taken the score to 36-14. Referee Carl Dixon, however, ruled it out after consulting the TMO, denying the All Blacks a crucial boost. Nevertheless, Radama's overall display didn't go unnoticed, and Satiti's physicality, 19 carries for over 50 meters, kept the Wallabies on their toes throughout. Robertson was quick to praise the duo, stating, "Just pleased that they've got the courage to show their challenge and their skill set on the biggest stage. So early in their test career, they step right to the occasion, don't they? And the big moments." In what turned out to be a game of inches, the All Blacks had a couple more tries ruled out, and even bombed a great chance with a flick pass gone wrong from Damian McKenzie. The Wallabies took advantage, narrowing the gap as Hunter Paisami crossed the line and Scott Barrett was yellow-carded. The tension grew when Caleb Clark was also sent to the sin bin, reducing New Zealand to 13 men. The Wallabies capitalized with Tom Wright scoring late, but the All Blacks clung to their lead, securing a hard-fought victory. As Robertson said, "Some incredible defense there and some scramble D and a couple of yellow cards. Just found a way to win it." In summary, Radama and Satiti were absolutely electric in a nail-biting contest that saw the All Blacks defend a narrow lead despite immense Wallabies pressure. Their performances show that the future of the All Blacks is in good hands. All Blacks. Justin Marshall calls for outdated policy to be scrapped as New Zealand are not unbeatable anymore. Marshall has called for New Zealand Rugby to scrap their outdated policies. Former All Blacks scrum half Justin Marshall has called for New Zealand Rugby to scrap their outdated policies and follow the Springboks recipe for success. Marshall believes that New Zealand Rugby have failed to move with the times, which has resulted in the rest of the world catching up with the once dominant rugby nation. After winning back-to-back Rugby World Cup in 2011 and 2015, New Zealand reached the semi-finals in 2019 and the final in 2023, falling to England and South Africa respectively. However, it's not just in rugby's showpiece event where Teal Blackshaven hit their usual highs, as the side drew a series with the British and Irish Lions in 2017 and have suffered several first defeats to Argentina and Ireland, both at home and abroad. Marshall believes part of the problem for the All Blacks is that the players are not being challenged enough in their club competitions, particularly those who have been playing Super Rugby for several years now. The former halfback's view is that many of those players would become better players if they were allowed to join overseas-based teams but still be available for selection to the All Blacks. Currently, New Zealand Rugby allows for players to take short-term sabbaticals like the one Jordy Barrett will do with Leinster, but Marshall feels that the All Blacks are hamstringing themselves by not allowing Scott Robertson to select overseas-based players. "We've had no change in our format that's challenging the players, particularly the players that have been here for longevity, where they're getting something new and fresh that's getting them out of bed," Marshall said on the breakdown. "We have to change our mindset. We now have to start allowing players who are playing overseas back into their environment to play for our national teams, because the recipe works for South Africa. Most of their players are not playing in South Africa, but they are coming in, and they are number one in the world, back-to-back world champions." Host Kirsty Stanway seemingly agreed with Marshall and added, "That's where our depth comes in, that we're missing at the moment, bringing 6 or 7 players back from overseas that are good enough to play and want to play, but the rules don't allow them." Cody Taylor addresses the All Blacks' fear ahead of Wallabies clash. "It's going to be a hell of a test." Marshall agreed with Stanway, listing the likes of Lester Fainga'anuku, Shannon Frizzell and Richie Mounga before explaining that the current policy of not selecting any players based out of New Zealand was in place at a time when the All Blacks were the best team in the world and playing the best competition, but that is no longer the case. We used to have this policy because we were unbeatable at home, because we were world champions, because we were #1 in the world. We're not anymore, he said. So do we have to start thinking more laterally and say, righto, let's do what the rest of the world are doing? They're bringing their players in from all over the place and formulating a team. No Argentinian players play in their own country, but yet they can piece a team together, come to New Zealand and beat us in the first test match. All Black star reveals the common trend which is harming New Zealand under Scott Robertson. Stanway also highlighted that a change in policy is actually something head coach Robertson is eager for, but added that it's the system and New Zealand rugby that don't want it to happen. Ex-All Blacks fullback Mills Miliena added that he is open to the idea of opening the door for overseas players a little bit, but understood why New Zealand rugby don't want to go down this route, as it would drain the local playing pool. They don't allow it because of the system. If you let younger players go overseas, it can work the other way as well, he said. Why would you sit here and vie for a Super Rugby contract at a maximum of what, 185,000, when you can go earn 400,000 euros as a 20-year-old, and that was why it was set up? I tend to agree in regards to opening it up a little bit, but how much I think it's actually our competitions. That's the problem. Lester Fainga'anuku goes over and plays in a competition because he wants to be in the best competition in the world. Our competitions, Super Rugby and NPC, they've done their dash. We haven't evolved in the way that we should have. We have been reliant on what we've done over the years and hoped that it will get us back to that form. We need to start talking about what that looks like, because that's one of the reasons that we are playing the way we are. Marshall sang off the same hymn sheet as his fellow Ex-All Black, as he believes that New Zealand players can now go overseas and become better players, which was not the case previously. I just want to throw out there, the dynamics have changed, the rest of the world has caught us, he explained. Sending our players or letting our younger players go was always a worry, because they wouldn't get the type of rugby that they need to be better players now. They can go to England and Ireland and France and be better players. We should be able to still access them if they do so. Look at Chandler Cunningham South. He left Lincoln and he's now playing for England. Imagine if we had access to him for our loose forward trio. I feel that we were stoic because we were the best in the world, and we want players playing here. We're playing against the best in the world. The best of the world is all out there now, so why not allow those players to go and learn and be better players, and yet we can still have them as All Blacks. Read more. Sean Fitzpatrick claims Springboks have no major weaknesses, while ex-Ireland star declares Rassie Erasmus' side one of the best of all time. The debate over Damien McKenzie and Beauden Barrett rages on. Justin Marshall thinks the All Blacks will beat the Wallabies whoever takes to the field. Justin Marshall says the Springboks now have a powerful tool. The All Blacks have lost. Justin Marshall believes that while Jordan is struggling to find his best form since returning from injury. So, what do you think about Marshall's strong call to shake things up for the All Blacks? Should we follow South Africa's approach and bring in overseas players to sharpen up the squad? Or is it better to stick with our traditional approach if you're a fan of the All Blacks? Write Go All Blacks in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. We've got plenty more insights, game reviews, and all the news you don't want to miss about the All Blacks. Let's keep the conversation going. Let me know in the comments what you think about this debate and how you feel the All Blacks should move forward.